Hi, my name's Greg from TP Photography, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a long-term test of a couple of lenses I've had, namely the Sigma 35mm f1.4 art lens and also the Sigma 18-35 f1.8 art lens. Now, the 18-35 is an APS-C lens, so I've been using that on the Sony a6300. The 35mm f1.4 is a full frame lens, so I've been using that on my full frame Sony bodies, so the A7S, the A7R2 and the A7 II. Now I've been using that in a Canon fit, but using the MC-11 adapter, so that's been the same for the 18-35 as well. But the main thing I want to talk to you about is I've seen lots of tests where they show you the lens and they like go round it and like do test shots and show you the bokeh and various other sort of what I call things that are important, but there may be things that you notice initially, and then you never really see many tests where they go, a year later or whatever, I found that it's actually better than I first thought, or it's worse than I first thought. So there's never really any sort of long-term feedback in terms of how the lens has got, has it stayed in the bag, have they sold it, or have they just sort of got that enthusiasm of when you first get a lens, you're like, whoa, that's amazing, like what am I going to do? So what I want to talk to you about today was the fact that I've had both these lenses on loan from Sigma very kindly. I've used them at weddings, I've used them on my commercial shoots, I've used them in the studio, both inside and outside, wide open, stop down, so I've got a very good feel for these lenses now. I've shot over 100,000 frames in the last sort of probably 9 to 12 months that I've had these lenses, so I thought I'd give you some of my feedback on how I found them over the year rather than just a short-term thing. So that's where I'm coming from today. So straight into it, the 35mm f1.4 art lens, that's something that a lot of people like to use. It's a great fast sort of wide / normal lens on full frame cameras. You can use it as a bit more of a telephoto type lens on APS-C bodies, so it becomes a bit more like a 50mm sort of lens. But the main advantage of this lens is that it's really sharp, wide open. It focuses really well on the MC-11 adapter. So if you're looking for a 35mm lens, certainly if you're shooting Sony, then the advantage of this is that it works out cheaper than the Sony FE35 1.4 lens. And it's also really sharp, really fast to focus. With the MC-11 adapter, you get all the full functions that you get with Sony autofocus. So you get the IIF still works. You can use all the focus modes as you normally would. The IIF is the key thing that I find is super useful when it comes to using the Sony system and the MC-11 adapter from Sigma. So I've lost count of how many pictures I've taken with it, but like I say, over 100,000 frames with both the 35mm and the 18-35 Sigma art lenses with the MC-11 adapter across the 6300 and the various A7 bodies. Now, one of the great things about the MC-11 adapter on the A7S is that you still get fast autofocus. The A7 II, A7R2 and the A6300 have phase detect autofocus. So some of the other adapters work quite well just in terms of adapting autofocus lenses. But the MC-11 has a real unique selling point there in that it retains all the Sony autofocus capabilities, which is one of the things that I love about the Sony system in the first place. So the 35mm, brilliant lens. I'd recommend it to anyone looking for a 35mm lens on the Sony system. It's a real sort of unique proposition there in terms of what you can do with it, and if you do have Canon bodies, for example, then you can still use it on Canon bodies, but that versatility is really useful. And then a little bit more about the 18-35. Now it may be a little bit less well known lens. It's been around for a little bit longer, but it's absolutely a stunning lens. It's there, especially in the E-mount system, there's no fast zooms at all. They're all f4 zooms really. So this 18-35 is an absolutely brilliant lens. It works on the full frame bodies in APS-C mode. So if you're shooting video, then you can use it in super 35mm mode on the full frame bodies. Works absolutely brilliantly on the A6300. I've used it a lot on commercial shoots and at weddings. You know, you get that f1.8, sorry, really sharp, faster focus. You've still got all the autofocus capability that the MC-11 gives you. You know, you might have seen my test that I've done with the MC-11 and various other lenses. Obviously, you're better off with the Sigma or contemporary and sport lenses that you get the full function from. So I'd say, you know, take a look at the 18-35 if you're shooting with a crop body Sony. If you're shooting video and you're thinking I'm going to be using a lot of super 35mm mode, then, you know, consider the 18-35 for the full frame bodies as well. You know, because you've got that zoom range and you've got the fast aperture, so that's a real bonus. And then if you're looking for a fast prime for the Sony system, then the MC-11 and the 35mm to 1.4 art lens is another great option there. And obviously, if you've already got any of the other Sigma art lenses, be it the 50mm or the brand new 85mm art, or, you know, any of the sport lenses or the contemporary ones, or anything you know, that will fit on the MC-11, that's going to give you a sort of an instant bonus if you're looking to move over to Sony. You know, my experience has been very positive over the last year with these lenses, and I'd not hesitate to recommend them to anyone if somebody's looking for some great, versatile and well thought out lenses, really. So hopefully you found that useful. It's a little bit different from what you normally see in terms of lens reviews, mainly because I've sort of lived with these lenses for the last year or so. You know, absolutely brilliant. I'm very grateful that Sigma have let me sort of have them for a little bit longer than normal, so that I can really sort of get a good grip of how they work. You know, and, you know, I'm going to be looking at sort of adding these to my collection, really, just because they're so you know, versatile, so sharp. You know, it gives me that option, you know, and especially when I shoot a bit more video, like what I'm doing now, then that ability to have sort of a manual focus ring instead of fly-by-wire is sort of a little bit nicer than some of the fly-by-wire things. So you can, you know, you can focus to where you want to without having to worry about it overshooting and things like that. So I hope you found that useful. A little bit of a different lens test for me. I'll put some links to some of the blog articles that I've written, you know, with some more thoughts about my long-term use of these lenses. But I just thought I'd make a little video so that you know, definitely worth having. And if you want to ask me any questions, you know, about anything like that, then add it in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.